with our study session. I'd like to recognize first, we are missing Tom Hansen, who's away for work tonight, but we'd like to get this lively discussion going tonight amongst us. We're going to start, I think, here with a presentation on the new high school name survey discussion here with Jason Watt. We'll turn the time over to you.
Sorry.
You good?
Do a roll call.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Sorry. We're all being recorded, so go ahead.
Marion Bial, board member.
Kim Dickerson, board member.
Corey Holmes, board member.
Jason Love, business administrator.
Tyler Bluth, board member.
Paul Sweat, superintendent. So what you have here is just a little calculation about, you know, the idea was, okay, well, if we were to take like the community, the 301 people who voted through the community, 925 parents, 656 students, and 478 staff. Those are the number of respondents we had on this, and then assign a point value to a first place vote is 5, you know, and down. Then what would the total points be for each of the options? And so we've got sort of gold, silver, and bronze as far as what place they took among each group, and then a total. Again, this is only one way to look at the results. I mean, you can look at it several different ways. We just thought maybe one calculation that sort of combined, like if a name got a lot of second place votes, then it would rise, but not very many first, and it would rise kind of maybe to a second or third choice.
Will you tell us just quickly though first how this kind of went as far as who we did this to and how it went about getting this?
Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm going to have Garrett talk about that,
Okay.
who sort of spearheaded this with Brett, the actual survey.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Come on up. Rally around the family.
awesome. What we did is we put it out kind of in 3 phases at different times, and just kind of focused on that. We wanted to see the data come in on each one as they came, and not have ourselves distracted a lot. So we put it out to the staff first. You can see kind of the results there.
On the staff, it went to,
At first, it just went to high school, right, Brett?
it went to
It
everyone.
went to everybody.
All the teachers.
All
in the
teachers,
district.
elementary, everyone.
Yeah.
Employees.
Employees.
All employees, yeah. And then next, we put it out to the students. We wanted to see what they thought about things. We found that their thoughts were very similar to the staff when we were in the school. Our parents, you can see that's who we put it out to next. And what we did, we just asked them to rank order 1 to 5. We didn't give them a lot of story about any of them. We just kind of gave them the names. And then we put it out to the community last. We did that through Facebook, right, Brett? Correct. And just saw what came in from our community. So that's probably a more diverse group. Some of them might not be connected directly to the school. And you can kind of see the community thought a little bit different from like the students and staff, but not a lot. It's kind of the same things coming up.
But yeah, overall, there's 2 pretty clear top choices, right? For third place, Iron Horse and Deer Creek sort of would bounce back and forth a little bit, and based on how you kind of structured, how you would rank order them, that they could even switch places a little bit. But it seemed like the Northfields, Riverhawks 1, and Mountain Valley Mustangs were sort of the clear 1-2 in almost, well, in all of these groups.
So really quick, so did we not put a link on our website this time? We just did Facebook?
Do you feel like the amount of people that participated is on the lower end, or is that about what you expected?
I thought the amount of people that participated in staff and then also in students, I mean, you can see that students is just high school students, right, Brett?
Yes.
So that's,
It's higher than I thought.
yeah, that's a lot of students participating.
Your staff's only about half.
Less than half.
Yeah,
Sean?
We have 1,200 employees.
So we didn't do junior high kids?
All of them are
we did not, we did not do that.
I expected more from the community.
Yeah.
How
The
long was
community
it up?
didn't come in. Brett, how long did we leave that Facebook page up?
The survey was out for about 14 days, 14 to 16.
So no, I think we were pretty happy with the amount that came in the survey. I feel that's really representative.
The only way you could do this differently is to, I thought the guys did a great job. And Brett and Kevin and the teaching and learning team as a whole, they're statisticians, they know how to do this
Oh, yeah, they did a
stuff.
good job, I
And,
think. that-
It was very well done. The only way you could do this differently to try and reach, have it be more scientific or reach more people is to have somebody like a professional survey company that's some of our other surveys, so.
Well, maybe this is a good
So
sample.
this is a good
Yeah.
representation.
This is
It
information
a
for
good
us.
sample.
Yeah.
But maybe the sample size is, you
When,
know, fine.
50% of your staff, and I assume probably 70 to 80% of them were teachers. And that many high school kids jumped on, and I think that's a great sample. So I think the survey itself is very legitimate. And if you wanted to do anything above and beyond that, then what's the name of that company we used to hire?
Y2 Analytics.
Y2, you'd have to hire somebody like Y2 or Dan Jones or something like that.
But they wouldn't do a third that many. They would just.
Yeah, they wouldn't have near as big a
But
sample.
this, yeah, I think this is a good sample size.
Well, and I think these are the people that care.
Right. Right. Yeah, good point.
When did it close? I'm just,
Brett, when did you close that last one down?
4th, I think.
That's today.
No, it was Friday. Friday at 5 o'clock.
oh, this is great, like, I'm just asking questions about the survey. Did we put on the survey that we had picked the colors already? Because I noticed in some of the comments they were talking about colors, and I was like, did we?
I don't think so.
We didn't? Okay.
So how's our feel? I mean, let's talk about it. With coming in, what's our overall feeling? Now that we have this, you know, I think we need to respect this process and take it into our decision making.
I was disappointed with the comments. A lot of negative comments.
Yeah. But we've kind of had that from the start.
That's to be
You know?
expected.
Yeah, it was worse than I thought.
At the same time, like we just said, these are the people who cared,
These are,
and they left what kind of comments? So I get
I'm
what you're
very
saying.
positive.
I get what you're saying, Lori, I get what you're saying. I appreciate you guys putting this out, thank you. I know it took a lot of time.
What's your thoughts, Tyler?
I think it's a very good sample of what kind of, you know, we spent a lot of time coming up with these names. We really, really have. But I do think now this kind of shows us some information where, you know, I still think there's room for discussion on why this name works together. I think we need to continue to make this decision.
well, do you want to get into a conversation about the top three?
I think we do,
Okay, let's do it.
yeah.
Let's start with,
And I would say, if I can interject here quickly, Kim, you know, I think it's pretty common for the board to have a committee or some group, maybe narrow, whether it's naming, whether it's a whole lot of other issues where you kind of narrow this down to 2 or 3, and then, you know, it's like the calendar. We We narrow the calendar down, we bring it to the board, we narrow things down. And so I think it's been made clear by the board as these went out, this was not a vote to choose the name. This was information gathering process to better inform the board as they made their decision. And I think that my advice to the board is as you look at the number of votes, especially as those top two, or maybe even top 3 or 4, that it would certainly be logical for the board to make their decision. I think the top 2 gives you lots of support. We did listen to the input. We made our final decision, and certainly, whether you call it the top 3 or 4, you could even go to that level where you're within a reasonable frame of we sent this out, we listened, we brought it back, and now we made an informed decision moving forward. But I don't think anybody can pick you apart now for saying, well, you chose number 2 or you chose number 3 over number 2, because you can see there were some clear names that rose to the top and there were some that dropped to the bottom.
I do. I think that's kind of our next move, is let's narrow this down further.
Let's drop the bottom three.
Let's narrow it down to the 3, and I think it's valuable to discuss, hey, is it worth moving some mascots around?
Yeah,
No,
so
I
let's
do.
talk about that.
And that's where I kind of want to talk about.
Or we can just say Heber Valley Haymakers and call it good. I am kidding. I'm kidding.
Tom's not on the radio. We're okay.
Or do we drop the bottom 2? Because I feel like Corey was pointing out the comments. A lot of the comments said they didn't like the combination
Right.
name and mascot.
Which one's number 4?
So let's
Oh,
list
dear.
the top 3 here.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Do we need to drop the top 2 names? And then to those comments, they said they did not like the combos.
Correct.
So that's where we look at the top 4 or 5 mascots, see where those would
I do.
lie in.
I think we still
I
take
think we're close.
I still
but
think
don't
we take into account what's been done before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think we're there.
In terms of
I
the
don't
committees
think
that
we're
we have put forth, I think that has to be recognized.
What's that?
Do you think we're there?
I don't think we're there.
It's just we need more conversation.
I think this is good work and it gives us a lot of direction, but I think we still got work to do.
Yeah.
Okay, you guide it.
Well, I do. I think let's list the top 3 here, and let's discuss how we feel. But I do. I feel like we're not ready. We're not totally ready to do this yet.
And I just want to remind the board, it doesn't matter what we choose, it doesn't matter the top 2 or the top 3, you will always have those negative comments. They will
yeah.
always exist.
I
Oh,
agree.
yeah.
And when you name your final name and mascot, you will have a whole bunch
Oh,
of
yeah.
negative comments on Facebook.
I don't think it's something that we need to rush right at this moment. Do you have an idea of when it might have to be decided?
I think that's up to the board. I
Okay.
think the board knows what this is and how you've been working through it. Certainly, no one can accuse us of any rash judgment in this case, because we started out with a committee of 15 people that brought you some names and a couple of different names. You sent them back and said, let's try again. And they brought you a different name, and then it ended up here and it's gone out again. I think you certainly have done your due diligence on naming the new high school. And so I think it's up to you. As you look ahead, obviously this is something we've discussed several times in this type of a forum, and I don't think it's I think it's understood also that this is certainly an issue that you're gonna discuss with one another and with the community ongoing, not just in a board meeting. Some things we're very careful that we make sure it's discussed in the right forums and the right concepts are discussed in the right forums. And as far as the naming goes, I think it's understood. I don't think we're gonna get in any legal trouble by the fact that we're gonna say, we can walk out of here tonight and we know there's gonna be a whole bunch of more discussion about it.
That's how I feel.
With board members and community members and the same people that voted, and so I think it's just up to the board to decide, you know, what. I don't think there's any advice to be given as to when, other than, that's you guys' decision. When are you ready to cut it off and name a mascot?
Because, you know, personally, I'm very tired of this whole process. You know, I want it to be over with, really, really do. But at the same time, I understand, this is a big decision, and we have to feel comfortable with it, have to take into account all the work that everybody's done, you know, and also feeling that there is a little, okay, come on, when you guys gonna do this? You know, there's still a little push of, we gotta get this done sooner than later. You know, they're starting to get antsy on the job side of the different things that need to be the official name with it, so,
But we have some time, you're saying.
Do you want to speak to that, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, they are getting a little nervous, the construction people, to brand this school and to order certain things. Does it have to be today, tomorrow, next week, next month? Probably not.
Okay.
But I would say before spring, for sure. Maybe in the next 2 months would be about as far as they would want to see that.
So like November, December, and then
Yeah,
closer to
I
November.
think it'd be fine doing that. I don't think that would, I mean, they ask every meeting, once a week, have you named it yet? And, no, we have not. But, again, just like the superintendent said, you guys get to decide when you feel like it's time to cut it off. And if you need more time, I think construction-wise, we could do a couple of months.
Okay.
Do you think we could commit to saying we'll have something done by the end of the year?
Yeah.
I think that's what we need to decide. We need a drop dead.
But it may be next month too.
I think we need to say, by this board meeting, this is where it's gonna happen.
Well,
And I think that has to come from you as well. That needs to say, hey, you guys gotta make a decision by here.
I don't, this is one I don't really have a lot of advice. My advice would be, I think you've done a very thorough and great job in getting where you're at, and my advice would be sooner than later. Think about the Utah Jazz. If the ownership was naming a new basketball team in town, would the mascot Jazz be very popular? Would anybody like it? Would everybody say, well, that's the stupidest name I've ever heard. What is wrong with you people? Of course they would. But a name becomes something that we all rally around and we own over time. We know that, you know, the Wasp, we would probably never name a high school a mascot of a wasp again either. But we're all proud wasps. There's lots of proud wasps in this room.
Lots of true ones.
True awesome.
True wasps as
True
well.
wasps, too.
So I think it's good for all of us to understand that there was some clear winnowing here, in my opinion. You've got the top 3 or 4. I think even more so, you got the top 2 that kind of stood out to the folks, and I was very surprised, and I think it means something, that every one of those groups, I mean, you would think that the community and the students may have a very different opinion. They didn't. The top 2 stayed the same. The top 2 kind of went back and forth. In all categories, teachers, students, parents, and community all had the same top 2 choices. That says something. That means something. And so you have to keep, you know that there's some cool things we're going to do behind the scenes. Once you select a name and a mascot, the staff's going to go to work with our branding company, and they're going to come up with some really cool things to make everyone get on board and love the name and love the mascot. And I think that, you know, there was some things here that people didn't want to tolerate very well, and some that rose to the top, and so.
We did, we kind of already did this. We already put out the press release that we were going to name Deer Creek Lightning or Deer Creek Bolts, and that didn't settle.
But that shows in the,
Does show here.
Yeah.
Very much does. And I think this is the first time really collectively we've been able to look at this together. So, yeah, I agree. There needs to be a little more discussion.
yeah, so, and I want to make sure Tom is here for
Yeah.
that too, so,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
I agree.
So we'll just
November, December?
leave it on the table for now and.
But
Kelly?
I do think we need to give ourselves a drop dead.
That's what I'm
I'd
saying.
say do it in November, because December's kind of we never know what's gonna happen in December. If we could all get Tom here, make sure he's here in October, and let's hammer this thing out. Let's try to announce it in November.
Announce it at the November
Announce it at the
board.
November board.
I think that's great.
I like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Just some information to help you guys do this. I like the idea of moving your mascots around a little bit if you needed to. Mountain Valley Mustangs we're very, very close to Mountain Crest Mustangs. Just to make you aware of that, that's already a high
Which will
school,
potentially be in our same region.
not region, but definitely classification. That's
And
just
I
something
think
for you.
there's like 5 schools with mountain, right?
There's a lot of
That's where I
mountains,
wanna
but
see
Mountain
this.
Crest Mustangs, so you have the same thing, so you have to kind of be aware of that, but Mountain Valley, Riverhawks, or Broncos, or something might work. That's why I like your idea of moving maybe some mascots around. But just a little information there. And I think the construction side of things and the branding company would be very grateful for a mascot or a name by the November meeting, and we could start on
Do you think that would be adequate? I mean,
Yes.
or are we needing to do this now? I guess that's kind of.
No, I think that's good.
Okay. Okay.
So moving forward, how do you want us to go about getting some more information from you guys? Do you want to pick the top 3 and move the mascots around? What do you want to do?
I kind of want to leave it as
I
is.
think we can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I kind of want to leave the 6 here.
Not surveying.
Okay, not surveying anything?
No.
No.
You're just going, okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
oh, you guys don't wanna narrow it down and go back
No.
for 2 weeks?
I
get more
think we
public
need to
input?
kind of, yeah.
I think we need to get Tom into the discussion. I think we just kind of need to have a discussion.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, Tom has not been here yet to
Right.
defend Heber Valley Haymaker.
Right.
But it be
Tom,
noted
is
that
that
that was
you
his
guys?
idea, everyone.
Here's
We can
the
say
bus.
that he's not here.
Where's
Not
the
to
bus?
admit
And
Yeah.
just threw him under.
We'll throw him under the bus because he's in Philly. Yeah.
Okay, I think we can.
I think that's
end
valuable.
there, yeah.
Pause it there.
All right, next, little calendar review. We love the calendar. Steph,
Hi, I'm so glad you love the
we
calendar.
love the calendar.
I'm so glad.
Nothing like a good calendar.
Right, a good calendar discussion, they're always great. Well, we have one option for you to take a look at tonight. This was a collaborative effort with the intentions of trying to provide, the most academically sound calendar, as well as listening to the input of, our community, our parents, our teachers. And so based on that, with the collaboration of that, that's what you're looking at here. It has been taken to our union reps, and our HR director, Sean Kelly, gave me some feedback from there. What did they have to say, Sean?
So it was very positive feedback on the calendar. They really like it. They like the PD days together.
Who's they?
The UEA representation, the presidency. So you have Michelle Crystal and Jenna Horrocks are the 2 leadership of the union.
Quick reminder, what have we changed here?
So this isn't really changed a whole lot from what we
Okay.
already have this year. We had surveyed the teachers, you can see at the quarter breaks, there's those PD days. There are the 2 blue days that are together, right there, the 20th and the 22nd. One of the things that they asked is if they could have them together and after the breaks, it also, I think, is a little bit more helpful daycare-wise for families as well, to have those together. And then, so that was one thing we listened to and put that together. They also, I think, were appreciative at Christmas time. There's a full 2 weeks at Christmas time as well, which I think they were very appreciative of. The staff was. And so that was the big feedback that we had gotten. So this calendar is very similar to what we're doing right now, which was what they had voted on. One of the things I think academically is very beneficial is if you can see in March, we have the end of the term on the 11th, the 12th and the 13th are those PD days, which then jumps us into the first 2 weeks of the 4th term, which really allows us to do a lot of spiral review of essential standards that have been taught throughout the year, because we do start testing about April 21st for our end of the year RISE assessments starts. And so that gives us a good solid time to really help and prep our kiddos and get them ready to jump in for our Super Bowl at the end of the year. And the other nice thing too is we tried to balance the days, first semester, second semester instructionally. There's only 10 days different. So if you're a secondary teacher, that makes a lot of difference, having more, if you're teaching first semester and second semester, trying to keep those a little closer than that's even more improved than what we have this year, this current school year.
And we start a little earlier here.
Yeah, about 3 days earlier this year. Last year, this year you didn't start till it would have been that.
19.
Part of it was kind of the calendar slide, as you kind of work up and down on the week.
The readers.
But to get that 2 weeks of Christmas and also something that's very important, and we really like having the teaching and learning team so involved in this, because it is what we consider to be the best academic calendar. The right number of days going into 4th term and how that just finishes out with testing and so on. And so if you're going to hear, like we all do, oh, how come we're starting so early? One of the reasons we're starting a little earlier is so that we have 2 weeks at Christmas. Otherwise we would have had people, if we can scroll up just a little bit, we would have had people working on Monday and Tuesday before
The 22nd and the 23rd. And that could have been an option, and then you start 2 days later. You also can move like fall break to only 3 days instead of the full week. And those are ways that you could do that, but I think the preference, based on what Sean is saying from representation from the teachers, that they appreciate having that same fall break that the students have.
Yeah, and that's the way I try to approach it, is I tell parents, we focus around the academics of the student, and that's what this is about, not...
This is a very academically friendly calendar.
So, and usually when I explain it that way, they're pretty understanding of that. I think
It lines up,
Christmas-
lines up with
yeah,
breaks. It
yeah.
lines up, yeah.
And Christmas, I remember in the past, one of the things that parents didn't like in the past was we got off just before Christmas, but this gives them a few days before Christmas
Yeah, that is
to go on
nice.
their trips or,
So they can actually lead that
Right.
the weekend
So
before.
I see that as a positive too.
Mhm.
Yeah, we did look at the 22nd and 23rd to move some things, but then you're literally going up till Christmas Eve.
Right.
Well, and I think that's where we get attendance issues as well, when there's only 2
That's what we
days.
thought too. with those two.
And it's hard to get there. This looks good. Thanks, you
think
guys.
it's-
This is a lot of hard work, so
I
thank
mean,
you.
it's years in the making, really.
Yeah.
The key to our calendar in recent years is moving the secondary, especially for secondary students. I mean, especially for high school, that's when their transcript begins, is in the 9th grade. It follows them through college, is having that break, that semester break at Christmas. That is the number one thing that we hold sacred now. We didn't used to. Washington County was kind of the first district to go to that, and you have to start earlier to make that work, because you've got to have a semester before then, and that's kind of the challenge. And I think Steph and the whole teaching and learning team have done just a great job in figuring that out. That we keep that that we have our first semester finals before we go to Christmas, and we start third semester when we get back, third term when we get back.
Yeah, I remember as a teacher, like in high school, like you would come back, because we used to start later, and I think people wonder why we started earlier, but that is a major reason why. But I remember coming back to the teacher in those 2 weeks that you came back. First of all, it takes 3 or 4 days to get your mind back into it, and then you're just trying to get kids like to pass their classes and stuff. Like it's a scramble. It was very, very difficult.
Numerous districts are now going to this similar calendar where they're taking their semester break at Christmas.
Before that, at least when I was in Alpine, the most felt quarter was second because of that. That's where most kids felt their classes, more than any other quarter of the year.
So hopefully this is obviously putting student learning has to be first, but
Right.
then it's a collaborative effort of listening to input from others, and there is a little give and take in that rate, and hopefully, because this is very similar to what we have now, and it was very promising that our union reps were very supportive of it as well, and so.
So it goes out for 30-day review?
If we approve it in board meeting, right? Or does it have to be, it'll be in
The only question I did have is how many districts still have a week fall break? I know it's like state group, but I'm wondering how many districts do have?
I don't know the answer to that specifically.
A week at fall break is a newer concept, and I would say less than half.
Okay.
Less than half have a full week at fall break.
Thanks, you.
That's terrific, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
I do believe, Mary Ann, our community is more of a community that likes those
Yeah.
week breaks in there.
Yeah.
When we went to, I remember the days we went to a week spring break, and within a year, we would have been tarred and feathered if we'd gone away from it. And I feel like people really like the week fall break as well.
Yeah,
Parents I've talked to like it, so I don't know.
I just didn't know if
Anybody
other
else?
districts were putting it out there too.
But it is something you could look at, because you could put the 2 PD days in there and start 2 days later if we wanted to, but
I've talked to Jenna and Michelle too, and it's, lining it up is really helpful for our teachers. So,
especially when they have their own kiddos too.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Well, yesterday was kind of an awesome day for me. I got to sit in on a graduation, and it was amazing. It was really fun. I was in the jail. And Tara, if you could come tell us all about it.
Come have a seat up
Come
here.
have a seat. It was an
So-
amazing day.
We have this other school at night at alternative school.
Let me just say that most of you are aware of this. So Tara's new assignment at the alternative school includes adult education and our jail education program.
So,
And she's doing awesome.
and tell us what that means. Who's involved with that?
Okay, so we offer classes in the evenings at the alternative school. That's kind of the starting point of this. Last year, we had 13 adults entered into our classes to learn English, and this year we started with 53, and we're adding constantly. So we have a big pull for parents, and our students actually walk their parents in, and they take classes to learn English in the evenings at West Campus. In that same umbrella, we have classes for getting their GEDs or completing high school if they're close in credits, or even if that's just the best route for them. We have some students that don't have a ton of credits, but they need a lot more support than they'll be able to get with the GED. We also offer Spanish GED prep classes in the evenings at the West Campus school. So if a student, we have approximately 5% dropout rate, and we don't quit trying to get them there, right? I've seen some kids downtown that didn't quite make it, and can I please come back and finish, please? We want you to walk away with that diploma. So as part of that umbrella, the state helps us facilitate education at the jail. And so Tasha Hewlett is our facilitator at the jail, and she allows them to have access through our accredited packets and the instruction that they can get there to complete their high school credits. So Tasha had 19 credits to get a year ago, and in a year she finished her credits. She's pretty inspiring as far as that goes. But this is a program that most high schools tie into, and some community education foundations take care of this. But Gary Turner volunteers his time to support our students there with math and science. So on Mondays, Tasha's over there helping them with packets and making sure that they're lined up with the credits that they need and tracking their progress towards graduation. This Morgan is 34. She has been incarcerated for just over 2 years and has not seen her family for over 2 years. And as part of the graduation here, she got to choose to invite her cell block or her family. And so she brought her family and got to see and hug her daughter for the first time in over 2 years. So it's a pretty big deal. And a couple of things that she said that really set with me was, it doesn't matter what I did, it matters what I do. And so she's ready to take on the rest of her life and is really excited to move forward with college. So it's just a little branch that we have here as part of our school district that we get to continue to support anyone that's ready.
One thing that she said stood out for me too was that now I don't need to lie that I graduated from high school, which she has been doing since she is now 34 years old. And you could just tell this is a new springboard for her after her life. And you can see the excitement, you see that in her little girl. It was cool. It was really cool to see. And I was so impressed with these guys, how these two guys in the jail reacted to her and this whole process. They were excited. You could tell.
So there was one other inmate that is in the education program that came, that was able to come to the ceremony, and she said, you know, everybody wants to come here because there's something special about Wasatch. And
the food.
And the food, but she also said, you don't get this kind of support in every jail. You don't get this showing of community of, you're one of us, we care about you, we care about your success. And she said, I know we can't all come here, but if we could, we'd all be better for it.
That's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
thank you
thank you.
for
No, that's,
joining us.
amazing.
It was a great moment, so hopefully many, many more.
Tell me what's Gary Turner's plans? Is he going to do this till the day he dies?
Yes, most definitely.
He's quite a guy.
He is the most kind, giving, loving human alive. And I first met him when he came in and he said, hey, I understand that some kids are going to need more help than we can give them. Please give them my number. I'll meet them anytime, anywhere, if I can help even just a little. So he volunteers his time at the jail, and honestly, any kid in our system that needs more help than we can find, he'll fill in until we find it. He's a good human.
I think every one of us that has gone through Wasatch has that kind of experience with him. You know, the late nights of him trying to help me balance equations and frickin' chemistry. And amazing guy.
He's incredible.
Sierra ran into him in Paris.
Oh, really?
At the,
Was he on his mission?
well, he was on his mission, yeah. So it was really cool. My kids have met him.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was an amazing day. It was fun to see. So, thanks for inviting me.
We're going to have more, I'm sure of it, so anyone that wants
I
to
was
join
gonna
us,
say,
we would
invite
love,
us.
we would love to have all of
just,
us.
just quick, how many are kind of in that situation?
We have another one that's getting kind of close, so it will depend. So these events, and when we show up and we show support, Tasha said, did you see how many people were looking in the windows? That means we're going to have new people step forward. So I think these tend to, the more you have, the more you have. So hopefully we can get some more people motivated to join us.
How many are in the jail?
That I actually don't know. No, but if you consider the graduation rate in the state of Utah is 88% about, so thousands of people every year leave school without a diploma. And those are the people that we would like to help educate, and this is one way we can do that.
How's it going at the alt school?
It's incredible. It's the biggest gift of my life to be there.
It's great. You know, I have a...
Yes, it's amazing. So yes, thank you for asking. It's incredible.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes.
Anything else, Superintendent?
No, I think that we always hope we have a little time for roundtable, and this is one kind of a rare time that we do. So this is a chance for board members to bring up any any issue they'd like to discuss? We've got about 15 minutes.
Just have interlocal coming up. What was I gonna say? Interlocal's coming up. Oh, USBA regional dinner.
Oh, yeah, that's supposed to announce that. That's
Y'all
coming up
can let Stacy know.
October 2nd.
Yep.
Okay,
That's next week.
yeah.
Yep.
They're doing it this year no longer
Oh,
at
yeah.
the Grove City. They're going to that Black Route Mountain Resort. Know where that is?
No.
It's, remember where Foston Hill was? Kind of
Oh,
where that,
yeah.
it's right across the street from there. And that, I guess you kind of got to go around back the other way on the old road, you know. But right there, there's a resort called Black Rock.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be nice. I heard it's a pretty good restaurant. I heard it's pretty nice.
I got a message in an email just about some crosswalk concerns around Old Mill. A few of us got it, so look at that and, yeah, what the rules are on that, so.
Is it still on 12th?
12th and the Cobblestone Drive, yeah. So,
Any feelings on, back to our discussion previously on future facilities and bubbles? You guys had any thought process on that?
yeah, I'll speak up. I don't see any reason to move on with the discussion on bubbles or,
Okay.
for me personally.
That's where I'm at.
They lost me at, you can't hit a baseball in there.
They lost me.
Or a
brick and
facility,
mortar.
or,
Yeah.
yeah,
With a $20 million
Either,
price tag.
so-
That's where I can't get behind that right now.
yeah, same.
Where are we at on getting the, not us, but Fifth North paved?
That's a good discussion. So we
Yeah,
have
cheers.
a weekly meeting about that, and they are gonna have that, try to have it paved by Monday. Now, the bad news is they're gonna pave that to Fifth, but then the street's gonna be closed Fifth East, because they're putting in a sewer, so even though we're getting it paved, they're still gonna have the street closed on Fifth East for a sewer for 3 or 4 days, so we're not out of the woods yet. Having it paved now to Third has been a huge, huge change. We just now need to get it to Fifth, and the parents have been great. The parents have handled it and understand, and I'll leave it at that.
You gonna give us a little update on where we are on the school build? We kind of went and looked at it.
Yeah,
How far along, how's the timelines, how's the?
so they're ahead of schedule. I don't know how, but they're ahead of schedule.
And under budget. Had a schedule and under budget?
On budget. On budget.
I said under, Sean.
They're doing a really good job. They're starting to pave. Next week, they're gonna pave 1,000 east. Part of that's gonna be paved, which will be a nice addition for winter. The athletic building is up to level 1. The weight rooms and some of the other things have trusses on it now. 3/4 of the main building is dried in. So it's coming along really well.
Do they think they'll be able to dry in the whole building before?
No.
Okay.
They're just gonna start blocking the cafeteria and the front entrance. So it will not be dried in by the time,
So, okay.
but a lot of it
But that's
is.
a lot.
A lot of it
That's
is,
a lot.
which is nice because now they can do finishes and electrical, sprinklers, all that kind of stuff.
Let me remind you, this is a school that doesn't have a name yet.
And it will have a name. The school that shall be nameless.
Yeah. Any idea on, I know we had the groundbreak for MTech, what's
They
that?
had a design, they ran into a snag on some design thing, so that postponed. They wanted to do it after Labor Day. Kenny Sane, our excavator, is gonna excavate for them. And I do not know what the snag was, but it's put them behind a little bit. I would guess hopefully sometime in October they're gonna start. Not, they're gonna be, it's never gonna get done.
I think their goal is just to finish when we do.
Really?
I don't think they're trying to finish anytime soon. That's what I've been told about Craig. I think they have time to get that done still, by Sean.
Yeah.
They have time to make a decision. I'm so funny. Yeah. Well, anything else? Okay. Thanks.
Easy study session.
We'll move into our next phase here, and we'll adjourn this. Thank you.
All right, we'll be back at 6:30 for our regular meeting.